Awesome. So this one, this is a little different because the previous panel, we have a diverse group of companies. Collaboration amongst this team is nothing new. You've been collaborating for years. And there were, initiatives that you had around automation and APIs and so on and so forth. And ultimately, you ended up here. So maybe a little bit about your own companies, and then talk about the collaboration amongst yourselves, maybe historic, and why you're here, of course. I'll give you this.
Let's start with AMS-IX because we are starting with an A, right? So yeah, AMS-IX is a pairing company like DE-CIX and LINX. So yeah, we started almost 30 years ago, more than 30 years ago. So we are one of the companies that started because of internet. And it's also interesting now, right? A lot of companies start because the AI is now coming in. But what pairing does is basically brings connecting telcos, cloud companies, everyone on a neutral way. We do that in Amsterdam, also abroad. But Amsterdam, we are very big. So we're helping a lot of customers connect to each other for fast and reliable internet. That is what we do. So yeah, let's go to DE-CIX. I don't know.
Yes, so DE-CIX and Mplify, new chapter. So first of all, let me quickly also introduce DE-CIX. DE-CIX, like the leading internet exchange with 56 internet exchanges globally. So we do peering. So I guess most of the room is customers of us in some way or the other. And that's where we're coming from. Wholesale, big pipes, serving local metro areas, the big ones like Frankfurt, our biggest one, probably even serving continents. But of course, we're growing our business as well. So we're going in the cloud connectivity, AI connectivity direction, and serving increasingly also enterprises with their connectivity requirements. So coming from originally Germany, Frankfurt, but expanding more and more globally, but not really connecting. I mean, technically, we do connect our locations, but that is really a small side hustle for special use cases. Our big business is serving local peering in the local metro regions. So now let's talk about standardization, Mplify, and how we got here. Because it started with a vision which we shared with our valued partners, AMS-IX and LINX, where we actually encountered that many of the wholesale companies that we are serving actually wanted to be served through a standardized interface. And we actually had this vision years ago, and we teamed up and actually specified and developed this IX API together. And more other IXs also changed, and we proved with some wholesale business, but increasingly also enterprise business, who really asked for using it for connectivity. So we have really hundreds of deployments every month, and that is a big number for a 300 people company that DE-CIX is for the enterprise business. And so we really proved that there is demand in the market. However, we also are here to be honest with you, it had a limited scope, and adoption just for us as IXs, not many of the companies would really be willing to do that. So that's why we're here and have that earnest statement. Yes, we proved that it is valuable and that it is needed, but to be successful actually, we need to have one strong standard, and we don't need to duplicate it in parts and have that small addition. And that's basically our shared first mission. We want to bring what we've created and proven with IX API to Mplify. So we want to bring it here, we want to adjust it and integrate it into what's there already. And then we want also a bit to adapt what's proven. So for some cloud connectivity or point-to-point connectivity, certainly there is stuff that we can also use and integrate. And of course, a bit longer term goal is make it easy for the enterprises. I know that this Mplify standard for the time being mostly serves us amongst each other. However, we are really, really interested in understanding how we can serve enterprises through the very same standard in the future. And that's it from my end. Thank you.
Thank you, Christoph. And yeah, so introduce myself. I'm Richard Petrie. I'm the CTO at LINX, and as you probably heard from, well, as you heard from the other two, we've been working together on collaboration on IX API for now, I think 5 to 10 years. I mean, when we originally kicked it off many years ago, and it's been an interesting journey. And I think LINX joining Mplify is a very important phase in that. And I'm really looking forward to working with this community. A little bit about LINX. We are a membership organisation, membership-owned organisation, so we interchange the terminology around customers and members, but many of you in the room are members of LINX, as with the other IXs here. Neutral platform, that means that we connect across multiple data centres, multiple carriers and telcos, and we have global reach, just like you heard from the other two organisations. We operate around the world in many different locations. I think from here the key numbers I wanted to talk about was over 100 terabits, or we're coming up to 100 terabits of connected capacity. Almost 100 member countries are connected to one of our exchange points around the world. We operate across North America, we operate across Europe, Middle East, and now we're starting to open points in Africa. So we partner as well with AMS-IX and DE-CIX, as well as other IXs in Japan and Italy as well. So I think we've all got a very similar story around reach, and we've all got a very similar story about wanting to standardize, and we've been working hard on that over the years. What are we going to be doing with Mplify? Well, we're going to take the IX API. We are going to fork it, and we're going to move this over and work with the LSO APIs. We've put a lot of effort into that investment, and we've got it's an open standard, and we've got a community with the IXs that we want to encourage to keep developing that. I think over the last 5 years, IXs have gone from being what you probably think of as traditional peering points to more interconnection points, and you'll start to hear, well, you heard from Pascal earlier, more about terminology of data exchanges and AI exchanges, and it's starting to slip into our marketing side. But I think it's important to really appreciate that. A lot of the problems that were on the slides earlier today were about how do you get to that end compute, to those GPUs, how do you interconnect in the metro? Well, IXs are very good at connecting across lots of data centers and lots of points of presence in metros. We've been doing it for years. We do it very, very well, high capacity, low latency. And if you look at the demands of AI and inference and the way that things are developing, I think we all think IXs are well placed to evolve to support that data exchange. And the fact that we've been working on standardization across our industry, if we can work collaboratively with the Mplify community, I think we can also help contribute, but also get a lot back from that as well. And ultimately, I think on my last slide there, just to say, there's a little comment there, we put a press release out, but really it's about choice. We already open up to the IX community, the internet community. We're opening up to the Mplify community. We try and encourage more and more people to use and consume our platform digitally, and looking forward to working with all of you on projects to come.
Cool. And on that topic, we have an IP peering payload project that's already started. So obviously, the history you have in building out APIs and trying to promote standardization is similar to ours. Maybe we've been at it a bit longer. You mentioned enterprise. Stan is increasingly tracking enterprise adoption, and those numbers are going up, so I would encourage you guys to have a one-to-one on that. You've got different types of partners that you would want to onboard with APIs, right, to grow adoption. I would assume it's enterprises, it's service providers, as well as other peering companies such as yourselves. When we have the new payload available, what do you think we need to do to drive adoption? Is it one of those three that we have to go to first? Is it amongst your peers that we go first? All of the above? Just some thoughts, because obviously you do the work, but we need a plan to kind of, you're here to accelerate the adoption, right? So we'll need to know how to do that.
So I think we've done a lot of spec and groundwork over the past, really almost 10 years. So, and we want to reuse what we have, not start some basic discussions again. So reuse what we have. And I think if we, three of us or whoever wants to join, like maybe even in the broader IX API community, to go the first steps, and I think then it's key to convince the entire IX community.
So get the APIs and the updated APIs in place amongst yourselves first. That makes a lot of sense, and use that as a case study or something like that.
It's a version 1, and then we can go and iterate.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, to add on that, it's also very interesting to see this whole group here, right? Yesterday and the day before, a lot of issues, a lot of challenges come to the agenda, and I think, and now that we are part of this community, we can help, right? We can help by pushing, or not pushing, but presenting our IX API standards, right, in the LSO way. And the good thing about that is that it's not then about us trying to push the IX API towards customers, towards vendors, but it's more about having a solution for everyone that is here, and then outside of this room, right? So that is also one of the key things I think we can all benefit. Now we are part of this nice community.
Yeah, just to add, I think there's some fantastic community events. Our industry sort of run around community events, peering forums in Asia and Africa, across Europe and North America. And I think actually having people from Mplify also engage in them and promote.
Take notes, Laurie.
Yes, I mean, I
Events
think
plan update.
It would be really good to get you know
Awesome.
your teams involved in some of those and presenting and you know giving some feedback to that community.
And, well, and we welcome you being the mouthpiece of the organization. We're just the staff, but the members are really the communicators, and we'll equip you with whatever you need to be the evangelist in the community and help you out there. Any other comments? Any questions from the audience? Okay, Antonella, if you could grab the mic. Antonella always has lots to say.
Okay. Have you already started sharing your APIs in any project? If not?
It's all public. It's an Apache license, and you can find it under like online.
No. Within Mplify, you know, this activity to share and harmonize with what we already have. Does a project already exist, or shall we start a new one?
I think we still need to start it. I think we shared already a lot of information in the session that we had before, but I think this is also a right time to start a project and to share detailed information.
Okay, that's a good starting point. So let's reach us as a co-chairs, and we can also do together.
My mistake. I thought it was kicked off already. Dean.
Hi there. Could you maybe give a couple of examples of what this might look like to have the existing Mplify NAS and the IX APIs? What are the problems it solves if you're a bank or a manufacturing company or I don't know, satellite operator that wants to collect its earth stations and data centers? Who's it for?
Well, I think in the ideal world, currently, if you want to do business with an IX, you need to be part of our industry, so you need to know what to do. And if we can bring IX API to this LSO standard, then the step of getting a connection at an internet or at the internet exchange becomes less big, right? Because you can just order it, consume it in a normal way. So I think that is the big step here, is that we are bringing ordering a connection at an IX. We make it way easier.
I'd just add to that. I mean, with you know, I think initially we think, you know, telecom service providers will use us as a way of extending their networks and their services down. But I think ultimately, you know, I think as things develop, it will be just open up to, you know, to enterprises. So the consumption model, it no longer looks like an IX. It just looks like an interconnection extension into the metro, into data, so to enable access to new data sources seamlessly.
That's really interesting, because I've long thought that edge interconnect is far more important than edge compute, especially for inference. So that's a good step in that direction. Thank you.
Just for clarification, so there is a project that started, okay, but it's under the rubric of the LSO product payloads. So what was agreed with the DE-CIX team and the LINX team is, let's start with defining the product attributes, defining IP peering in such a way that that payload can then be automatically used with any of the LSO APIs. So that started. I think Antonella was talking about something a little bit broader, which was bringing together the full suite of the IX APIs into the integrating it with the LSO API ecosystem. I think that's a much broader topic, and that needs to start. But we said let's start with something that's more immediate, more manageable, and that's the IP peering payload.
Any other questions from the floor?
I have one, if I could just make my way to a mic. So I do have a question. Is the concept to create a new subcategory for IXs, or to integrate it into some of the existing standards in LSO payloads that are already out there? When I look at things like P2P-VC, it looks an awful lot like things that already exist within the LSO framework. So do we update the existing payloads to encompass the bits and pieces and standardize the definitions around what already exists, or do we envision a different subcategory specific to internet exchanges? Because you have Cloud Router, you have a number of things that already are defined, but there's also already stuff that's been started elsewhere. And I'm just trying to see what the theory is to merge, to separate. What are you thinking?
Both.
Both, okay.
So clearly we're bringing stuff to the table that's new and that needs to be standardized in its own LSO, but certainly we want to reuse what's already there.
Okay. I would just suggest maybe a starting point would be just a definitional sprint or two, because a lot of what you've already got just has a different name within the LSO framework. Yeah. But it's just two things, different sides of the same coin. So why reinvent? But okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, gentlemen, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.